Good morning. My name is Farli Fahida Parwan, and I'm going to present my project management deck, which is installation of floating solar PV at Gadjah Mungkur Reservoir. And we're going to talk about ideas identification, project appraisal, and then project planning. First one is ideas identification. Based on this graph, we see that 65% greenhouse gas emissions in Indonesia came from energy sector, which is around 600 metric ton carbon dioxide equivalent per year. So we need to suppress this trend by start using renewable energy and leave the fossil fuel based energy. And the average global horizontal irradiation in Indonesia is 4.8 kilowatt hour per meter square per day, which is better than other countries that already use solar PV as their general renewable energy share, such as German, Japan, China, and Singapore. And according to National Energy Plan, Indonesia has a solar energy potential of 3,000 gigawatt. And Indonesia has a lot of lakes, and it has a potential to generate 180,000 terawatt hour per year. And Indonesia has a quiet marine area, which is a perfect place to start install the floating solar PV. And this is the floating solar PV farm investment. Indonesia already has one solar farm, which is in Cirata. And compared to the other floating solar PV project in other countries, Indonesia has the cheapest, which is better. And it means that it's economically viable to start floating solar PV farm in Indonesia. Next, we're going to talk about the PASTEL strategic, which is the micro-environmental influence. First one is about the political factors. We know that we have a government regulation, which is talk about the purchase electricity and a cost. And then from the economic factors, energy has emerged as a vital component influencing a country's economic progress. And this post-COVID era, people are seeking consumption and productivity, and these two will increase the number of jobs needed and also the labor supplies in the market. And next is social factors. There is a relationship between humans' energy that leads to a sophisticated society, and the growth of power generation relies on various stakeholders, and we expect that 300 millions of Indonesian populations, and it contribute to Indonesia's power generation development. And next is technological factors. The renewable energy technology parameter closely connects with the electricity fair price, and we know the solar panel installation cost is decreased throughout the year. And there's a possibility if Indonesia government creates appropriate laws, power's aggregate generation from the PV project will be more competitive than fossil fuel-based electricity. And next is for the legal factors. Constant change in legislation will hurting the energy industry. So governments is accountable to provide specific renewable laws. So the government made the policy, which is national energy policy. Last is the environmental factors. Indonesia's unconditional NDC targets would increase emissions to 400% above the 1990 levels. So to be fair to 1.5 degrees Celsius fair share based on Paris Agreement compatible, Indonesia would need to substantially strengthen its unconditional target. And this is this SWOT analysis, which is the strength. Indonesia has a edge in solar irradiation, but its weakness in intermittency. But there's opportunity because there's still few developers that can provide solar panels via the reservoir. But there's threat, which is the local banks thinks it's risk of invest in Indonesia renewable energy project. Next, the project appraisal. This is the global coal demand, which is decreasing throughout the year, but coal remains an important commodity for Indonesia, where in the other hand, in the decarbonization pathway, solar PV will be the majority of demand owing to its improving cost and competitiveness, and there will be no use of coal by the year of 2045. Next is technological analysis. The project is going to take place at Gadjah Mungkur Reservoir, and if we use the 5% of reservoir surface area, it has a potential of 200 gigawatt hour per year of generation potential. The first required infrastructure is assembly point to construct and link the floaters and modules. Next is about the pooling area, which will be used as the house of the transformers and also the plant control room. Next is the grid substation. The nearest and the qualified substation to evacuate power from the Gadjah Mungkur site, which is Wonogiri substations, which is located around 12 kilometers from the pooling area. And this is the equipment that will be used in this project, which is the JA solar for the modules, and we will need around 341,000 modules. And for the inverters, we will use from Siemens, and the plant's overall AC capacity will be 160 megawatt AC, and we will also need to use of transformers. This is the socio-economic analysis based on the economic gains. Indonesia gain economically from investment stimulation, and the carbon pricing and international cooperation payments will play a critical role. And then Indonesia expects an increasing in government social expenditure of roughly $7 billion. And for the employment, there is a 7 to 70 full-time jobs employment opportunity. And if there's a potential of 400 gigawatt potential of floating solar PV, there will be create to 2 million to 28 million employment opportunity. And for the welfare, there's a social environmental variable which has the most impact on the welfare because due to the less negative health consequence, and also energy transformation helps the access for the energy consumptions, and there will be also economic and distributional which enhance wealth distribution and creates extra fiscal capacity. Next is financial. First one is capital costs, which include pre-project material, infrastructure, contingency, tax, and profit margin. And this is the resource of finance. We need the investor and also lender to provide financial for the project. And this is project assumptions, which is project capacity, generation, project lifespan, and operation maintenance. And based on the profitability analysis, we know that levelized cost of electricity is 17 rupiah per kilowatt hour, which is cheaper and better than the Cirata floating farm, and the payback period will be in around 9 years. And this is the ecological factors. There will be influence on land usage, topsoil loss, hazardous garbage, dust, noise may be generated, and also spill and leaks by the gasoline and oil. And there will be disturbance to wildlife, removal of vegetation and trees, and there will be a consequence in habitat disruptions, fragmentation, algal bloom, and food availability. Last is about the project planning, and this is the organizational structure of the project. We will use the matrix organizational structure, and we will need civil engineer, electrical engineer, business and finance, legal, and also HSE engineer, and there will be a 3 project manager. And this is the project schedule based on the work breakdown structure and then the network diagram, and we can arrange the project's schedule with project conception, project planning, refining project planning, finalize pre-construction, start construction, cabling electrical, then commissioning acceptance, and then lastly the operation. And based on the PERT calculation, the project probability of finishing within the specified time is 75%. So it's timely feasible. And this is a project cost, consists of pre-project, materials, infrastructure, connection, finishing, tax, contingency, margin, and we will need 149 trillion rupiah. And lastly, this is the S-curve of Gadjah Mungkur floating solar PV, and we will have a steep curve in week 18, and will be constant in week 44. I think that's all for me. Thank you.